Being a special needs parent can be very, very emotional. It can be very draining. It can be very difficult. Stay tuned. Let's talk about it. Hi everyone, it's Annasha from Shayla's Voice. Thank you for stopping by again. If you haven't already done so, remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. When a video gets uploaded, you will be one of the first people to know. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that's a little bit more sensitive, and that's the emotional burden that comes with raising this child with special needs. I'm not even sure that I should call it a burden, but just the emotional aspect that comes with raising a child with special needs. I mean, any parent having a child, it's emotional, but having that special needs component tacked on top of it, that in itself is a huge emotional stressor for a lot of us in our special needs community. So I'll just be diving in a little bit deeper into that component, especially reflecting and relating to my experiences. So right from the start, some of the challenges that we face with getting a diagnosis is learning about the diagnosis. When I got a diagnosis of autism, I didn't know anything much about it. I was preparing based on the signs that we were seeing and what others were telling us from school, from daycare, but I didn't know anything detailed about autism. So getting the official diagnosis helped me do a deeper dive into what autism is and what it means to have autism, and is there a cure for autism, and so on and so forth. So that in itself is a big stressor for a lot of parents. It's just learning about this that your child is facing and exploring, oh, how can I make it better for my child? How can I make it better for us? How can I make it better for my family? With researching and learning about the disability comes on the part about accessing the right service and the right treatments and finding the right people, the right support system for your child. That definitely adds to the stressor of the disability in itself, about getting that diagnosis in itself. So definitely a big stressor for us as special needs parents is just doing the right thing. How can we get to the right thing, the right supports, the right treatment and everything for our kids? Having a diagnosis, the demand of just having a child with a diagnosis with the special needs, it's tremendous. It's huge. There's doctor's appointments and there's school appointments and there's this and there's that. It's definitely very demanding, which can take a toll on us emotionally as well as physically. Having to run all over the place in regards to this doctor's appointment and that doctor's appointment and that test and that test. It can definitely take a toll on you physically. Not only that, based on the disability, the capability of the child, that adds a lot to the physical part of it, the physical stressor, the physical demand on you. So it could be cerebral palsy, it could be autism, it could be Down syndrome, it could be anything. There's always that physical component that comes with it. Excuse me, Shayla is laughing in the background. She's here. Then we dive into advocating for your child, right? After you've learned about the disability and the diagnosis and you've gotten the right people in place and all of that, it comes to advocating for your child. That in itself is another job on its own, because we advocate with the healthcare system, we advocate with the school system, we advocate with government, we're constantly advocating for our kids, because our kids have the right to everything that any other child would, any other individual would. But for some reason, our kids are sometimes left behind. So as parents of special needs kids, another emotional stressor that we have, another emotional toll that takes over our body, is having to be that voice for your child 24/7. We have to advocate. It's unfortunate that we have to. It's unfortunate that we have to fight so much for our kids, but if we don't do it, who else will, right? So we have to advocate for our kids, and I know that can definitely take a toll on anyone. Definitely a huge stressor is the burden of finances. In my family, I've had to stay home to take care of Shayla, and Sean is the only one working. So that can definitely put a damper on anything. Some people are fortunate enough to be able to afford, some people are not, but with every treatment, every resource, every therapy, there's money attached to it. So definitely finances could be a huge stressor for any family when it comes to special needs diagnosis. Fortunately, Shayla is getting resources, paid therapy through the government. How long is that going to last? I don't know. That again adds to the stresses, because yeah, she's getting therapy right now, but that can change at any moment with our government constantly changing. So having to think about finances all the time, again, definitely takes an emotional toll on anybody. I mean, I think personally the biggest impact, and what I wanted to talk about most in this video, is the emotional impact. it just helps so much that having a support system, having the right support system to help you through your journey, it helps so much. But I know that a lot of people are not fortunate enough to have that. It's unfortunate, but people don't always have it. So taking care of ourselves, that's where a lot of self-care comes in. Having to take care of ourselves, being able to have time to breathe and to think and to walk away from the kids. It's so important in regards to maintaining our emotional well-being, maintaining our mental health, maintaining our sanity. It just goes a long way. So definitely I would encourage anybody, whenever you have the moment, take that time, breathe, relax, walk away, because that emotional burden that we're carrying as special needs parents, it doesn't help at all, knowing that we're adding more onto it. So we have to take care of ourselves. We can face a number of different stresses when it comes to that emotional part. I mean, fear and worry. We're constantly afraid of something. We're constantly fearful of something. We're constantly worrying about something. My biggest fear is what will happen if I'm not around? What will happen if I can't afford to take care of therapy for Shayla, right? That fear and that worry, it stays with us forever. It's something that we have to live with as special needs parents. Another thing is whether or not our children are in pain, whether or not they're suffering, right? With Shayla being nonverbal, she can't tell me when she's in pain. She can't tell me when she's suffering. So I have to be so attentive to her. I have to be so alert with everything that she does to know what's going on with her. I remember a time she actually broke a bone in her foot and I didn't even know. I felt so guilty. I felt so guilty. She went to bed in pain and she got up, and it was only because I saw the swelling that I knew that something had happened to her, right? The guilt, that's another one, the guilt of not knowing, the guilt of, you know what I mean? Like, just, it's so overwhelming sometimes. It's so overwhelming. And I know that every special needs parent goes through the same thing. Any parent goes through the same thing, but I have to stress that I'm speaking on behalf of our special needs parents, and it's just an added for us. It's just something added there for us, right? So guilt is another thing that we carry along the way. Another thing that a lot of special needs parents face, and I, in another video, and I'll leave the link below, I did talk about stepping away from that, is the jealousy. It's the comparison, right? We're always comparing our kids to others. I'm open to being transparent with this. I was jealous. I was very jealous of my nephews and my nieces, right? I was very jealous of my siblings because they have the normal kids and I have a child with special needs, right? And I was constantly comparing her to others, right? But I've learned, fortunately, thankfully, I've learned to step away from that and see her for who she is and appreciate her for who she is, right? But I know a lot of families face that. They are jealous of other kids. They compare their kids to others, right? That is something definitely I would encourage everybody to step away from if you can. Try to work it out. Come away from that, because once that happens, once you step away from that, it's a whole other world out there for you with your child, right? You enjoy them for who they are. You appreciate them. You love them more. It's just amazing just being able to step away from that. It's hard. It's easier said than done. But I'll definitely encourage anybody to step away from that, the comparison and the jealousy of other kids. I think one of the biggest things for me was the loss. It's true that I have my child with me. It's true that she's with me every day and I enjoy her for who she is. But the loss of not knowing, right? The loss of having a conversation with my child. The loss of being able to go get a mani and pedi with my daughter. The loss of being able to talk to my daughter about her first boyfriend. The loss of not knowing whether or not my child would get married and walk down the aisle, right? Having a nonverbal child with severe autism, it's hard. It's hard. And it's not like I don't have hope, but I have to see my reality, to see my today. And my today, there is loss. There's loss of being able to communicate with her, have a conversation with her. There's loss of being able to talk to her about boys and being able to go through her schoolwork with her. There's that loss, right? So not having that normal child, that's all. When I was pregnant, I never imagined having a child with special needs. I've always wanted to be a mom. Always wanted to be a mom, right? That was one of the things that I looked forward to. But having a child with special needs, it's like, am I cut out for this, right? Is this really happening to me? So the loss of having that normal child, it's something that we have to go through. We have to grieve through that, right? It's something that we have to go through. And luckily, although it's always in the back of my head, because sometimes I'm human, I tend to, again, do the comparison and be a little bit jealous and stuff like that. But we have to just learn to appreciate them fully, wholeheartedly for who they are today, and enjoy whatever great moments come out of them, even the little moments. But whatever comes out of them, we just have to simply enjoy that. And grieve, absolutely, we have to do that, but do it quickly and move on so we can enjoy our kids for who they are. We as special needs parents tend to be exhausted and sometimes even depressed or near depression, right? But we have to be able to pull ourselves up and deal with it and move on and be there for our kids. Key thing is to self-care, pour into ourselves, because if there's nothing in us, we can't pour out. So we definitely have to self-care and take care of ourselves. So I'd encourage everybody and anyone to tap into your resources, tap into your networks, tap into your community. What is out there for you? There's tons of resources out there, right? So tap into that and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Remember that you're doing a great job and you're doing the best that you can, but you have to take care of yourself, right? The emotional toll of being a special needs parent, it's hard, it's a lot, but we can get through it. We are getting through it. So keep your head up and definitely love yourself and take care of yourself. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that this was somewhat enlightening to you. If there's somebody that you think this video can benefit, be sure to hit the share button. Remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. When a video gets uploaded, you'll be one of the first people to know. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care.